I'll second. All those in favor? Aye. Item 2 is the 2020 First Street River Life Trail Project, Haas Sons Incorporated, change order 1.
So this was the River Life Trail project that plans were put together for us, and they assumed that we would be able to, all the excavated material on site we'd be able to use. Turns out some of the material is unsuitable to put back as the foundation, so we had to truck some of that to the landfill because it was contaminated. So Haas gave us a very reasonable trucking price. So this is the cost. The city paid the tipping fees directly to the landfill. So this is just the cost for Haas to haul that contaminated material to the landfill. And the prices were very reasonable, so I'd recommend approval.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Item 3 is the 2020 First Street River Life Trail Project, Haas Sons final payment.
Submitted by Haas and reviewed by Brian. I would recommend approval.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Item 4 is the 2020 Highway 51, Highway 29 pond de-lining, Integrity Excavating, change order number 2.
Last November, I brought a change order or a pay app to the Board of Public Works, and then I also discussed that there's likely a change order that would be coming forward in the spring regarding the pond lining beginning to float due to the fluctuating groundwater. So this is that change order. I had them break it out into 2 parts, one for pumping the liner down and placing soil on top to weigh it down, but then also the second change order, or the second piece to this change order for about $14,500 would be to install some under drain to help manage the groundwater so that this doesn't begin to float again. So I recommend the approval of this change order for $81,977. I did speak with Mary Ann about this last week, and she seemed okay with it. I don't know if you guys have spoke with her at all.
No, I have not.
I haven't, but as long as she has that in the stormwater budget, that's fine. I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Item 5 is a Portland Cement Concrete license from Utility Traffic and Restoration.
I have reviewed that and I recommend approval.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item 6 is the bituminous concrete paving license from Utility Traffic and Restoration.
I've also reviewed that one and recommend approval.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Here's the concrete license.
Okay.
Did Mary Ann review any of the
She didn't say either way.
contractors either way? Alan, do you have any issue? Do we have to go into closed session, Alan? Do you have any issues with any of the contractors on the list?
No, I mean, like Lori just pointed out to me, Pembroke just got their prequals in this morning. The ad said they were supposed to be in yesterday. And I think that's for us to have time to review them. Obviously, we make them ahead of the board. So I guess it's up to you whether you want to accept theirs. I don't have an issue with them.
don't remember what our rule is about accepting, it's not a bid, it's a pre-qual. Do we have deadlines on?
The ad says they were, Lori, you can correct me, but it was yesterday at 1, 2? Yesterday at 2 is what the ad said that was published.
Did it say anything like must be in by this date, or anything received after this date will not be accepted, or just said due by this date and time?
Correct.
What have we done in the past? Is there anything that would prohibit them from pulling plans or whatever you call it to bid on the project anyway? Do they have to be pre-qualified?
Yes, they have to be pre-qualified.
They do, okay, so
to
that
be a
if we
prime-
didn't, if we didn't accept it late, they wouldn't even be able to bid as a prime later?
Correct,
Okay.
yeah, this is for bidding as a prime, so, I mean, anybody can pull plans to be a sub, but
Okay. So it kind of matters what we do, and I want to make sure that we're consistent with what we've done in the past if this has come up, and I can't believe it hasn't.
yeah, I think it I mean, we have considered pre-quals. You know, sometimes the pre-quals may expire throughout the year, like in the middle of the year, you know, because they're good for a year, right, Lori? And then, you know, because we've then gone and considered those, you know, when they've resubmitted to update what they have. So I don't think it would be unprecedented if we, you know, considered their pre-qualifications, you know, even though they came in late on the.
Well,
on
it's
the
certainly
due,
to the
but-
city's advantage to have a greater number of prime contractors pulling bids, but
But we
what
want
does
to
a deadline mean then if
Right.
we're always going to accept things
right, yeah.
against our ads? I don't know that that's fair to the rest of them.
I mean,
So
I-
was theirs expired and they're just updating it, or were they just late in getting their,
It was expired, they're updating it, but it was late for submittal for this project.
So then if we have them on file, then they don't need to resubmit for every project, right? Yeah,
but you said they were late for this project, but they just needed to update their statement.
Correct.
But like you said, they should be able to update it at any time. So now it's
Yep.
there, they don't have to do it again in advance of any of these projects.
that's correct, yeah.
So so if they pull plans for the next, say, Project A, street reconstruction, and if they're already on the pre-qual, we'll bring it ahead to you guys to approve them as pre-qual, but you're right, they won't have to update anything, it'll automatically be there. But you still have to approve them as a pre-qualified bidder.
Okay,
So for that project,
For-
for every
for a
project.
specific
Yeah,
project.
every project is pre-qualified based upon
right.
the size of the project. We may pre-qualify a small contractor for a smaller job, but they may not necessarily be qualified for a large job, and it's kind of the way we do it.
How long was this one expired before they updated it then, a day later than the project required it?
I don't recall, I'd have to pull that.
Yeah, and I mean, on our end, the date is in there so that we don't get them right at the end and have to review them. In this, in this case, we know Pember,
That's true.
they've been around, so we've had pre-qualified them. Other projects, I don't know if that makes a difference, but you're right, we have a date. How firm do we stick to that?
That's not in our ordinances anywhere, is it, or in any policy? It's just that you put that deadline in there so that you have a chance to review them, so.
Correct.
Right.
Now, it could lead us to say, well, this company was late, we've never dealt with them before, so we're cutting them out because we didn't have time to conduct a more in-depth review, which we're required to do because we're unfamiliar with them, whereas with Pember, we are familiar with them. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've struggled on the pre-quals, you know. I do think that they're good, especially when we're gonna get new contractors in, so we can review, their status and history, but, I think that we've considered, I thought it was maybe Jake's last year, there was another contractor we considered last year on a project. Theirs were expired in the middle of the year, and then I think that the board went ahead and approved them to bid, be based on,
So when they're expired and they haven't updated it, what if they can just file an update, they don't have to do it in response to a certain project, so why are we tying this one to being late to this, instead of them just updating it?
right, I think
Because if
that
it's already on file, then they shouldn't have to be doing this for each project. That's what I'm
Well-
trying to separate, is were they just responding to this
no, well, there,
job, or were they just updating their annual statement because they're already pre-qualified and they're just updating it?
They wouldn't have been pre-qualified because they were expired. Their pre-quals
Yeah.
only last for a year.
Okay,
So they expired, so they wouldn't have been pre-qualified for this project if they don't get a new pre-qualification statement every year. Now, some of these people, different contractors expire at different times of the year. That's why it makes it difficult for Lori sometimes. because
Right.
They're all expiring at different parts.
right. But can they get it in like the week it's expiring, or what if they do it a month after it's expired and it happens to be a day after some project they wanna bid on? Like you say, when it's expired, it's expired. Once they're pre-qualified and they're just updating it, I would think unless something drastic changes with their statement, they'd remain pre-qualified, like you said too. I'm just having a hard time sorting this out, and I wanna make sure that we treat everybody the same.
yeah, I mean, I think we tried to do that. I think that the challenge is that every project, because they're different, some of them are 20,000 or 30,000, some are, hundreds of thousands of dollars. So, as Alan said, some contractors, although they have all their pre-quals in, we may not feel that they're large enough, let's say, to do a full street reconstruction, but they're certainly large enough to do some small landscaping and excavation work and stuff, so.
And this is a big project.
They're definitely suited for it. I think the target budget is 250,000.
Okay,
I don't know, I feel like that, the contractors, if it's just kind of a renewal type thing, that we should, they got it in before the meeting, before we're considering these, but it just seems reasonable that we would approve them, on the pre-quals to bid the project. But I don't know how do we do this on a case-by-case basis when contractors are late, or?
no, we should have a policy.
Right.
If they're late, they're out. If they're not late, they're fine.
Right.
Otherwise there's no consequence to not following our rules, and why do
Right.
we publish anything?
No.
If you catch us on our way down to the meeting, you're good, cause you've been around forever and you're reputable, and we know who you are, no problem. Are we gonna treat somebody that's late in the future that we don't know about the same way? Are we gonna have time to vet them, to give them the same opportunity? That would be my concern. I'm really struggling with this one. I could go either way. I see the arguments on both sides.
I think maybe we should sit down and devise some process on this then.
When was this one gonna be bid, or do we have to decide on this today,
We're gonna open bids next week,
next week?
so they'll need to know so that, they don't spend time bidding the project for next week if, you know what I mean? If
Yeah.
we decide that they're not gonna,
Kind of the way our system works is after this meeting, if the pre-qualified bidders, then Lori opens them up on Quest, so then they'll be able to submit their bid and look at the numbers.
Almost immediately.
Right after this meeting, Lori will go back.
Got
and
it.
She'll basically check the box that they're pre-qualified, so then they can start entering their numbers. So if Pember is not pre-qualified, She won't check the box to let them in to do
I see.
to enter their numbers.
Well, pre-qualification statements aren't required by statute,
That's correct.
so we probably do have the discretion to allow people to bid that maybe haven't met them, but I just wanna make sure that we're, like I said, have some kind of a consistent process or that we're following. I mean, it could be case by case, but then we've gotta have some objective standards that we're applying and using to make exceptions, and maybe that one here is that they're well qualified, we've got experience with them, we know them, they've been pre-qualified in the past, and it's simply expired. So I'll move to pre-qualify Pember companies for bidding on this project. And approve the remainder of them on this sheet. I know you usually read them,
You sh-
Eric. If you
sure.
wanna go ahead and do that, I'll make the motion.
Okay. And I'll second the motion to pre-qual CPR Incorporated, Norcon Corporation, Pember Companies, and Summers Construction. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I'll make a motion to pre-qual American Asphalt on the asphalt paving project A.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Make a motion to adjourn?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.